Hey guys, Josh Vision, and I'm here to give you my review of Lethal Weapon Season 2, Episode 1. This was a really good episode to open up the second season. So we start off with Murtaugh being in Beja, Mexico. And as we know from where Season 1 finale left off, Riggs is after Tio Flores because he was the manslaughter responsible death. So we find out that Murtaugh's been there for about 2 weeks trying to find Riggs. And he's speaking to his family and they're asking what he's exactly doing in Mexico because they know about him trying to find Riggs and all that. His wife says, I've been knows you've been going to the spa, you've been getting your nails done and all that stuff, going to these expensive hotels. And Murtaugh's like, hey, baby, hey, I have at my best. I have to. And she said, I think he also mentioned that he also took a vacation week or something, like a 2 week vacation week, during his pursuit of Riggs. So he's trying to find Riggs. He spots Tito Flores and his men. And while he's eating his taco, he notices from the top of the hotel that one of the guys fell straight down into the car. He's like, you know what? I think I found Riggs. So to the hotel, and she's going, to rooms where he's seeing all these women. Clearly, it's like a sex thing that's happening. And he goes in and he sees Riggs has a gun pointed at Tito Flores, who's tied up and he has something in his mouth. Obviously, a little bit of hanky-panky going on. So Tito Flores, he's sort of begging, obviously, for his life. And Riggs is like, begging, you know what? I'm going to enjoy this. You took my happiness, my life, so I'm going to take yours. And right before he can pull the trigger, and says, listen, man, I know this dude deserves to die, but we have to do this the judicial way. Just put him in trial. And Riggs is not having. He's like, listen, this man took everything from me. I got to do this. At the last moment says, man, I love you. And then Riggs is like, did you just say you love me? And he was like, yes, I do, man. He's like, because he didn't really know how to respond to that. And he says, so how do you feel? I don't really quite know, man, to be honest. After that, I believe Riggs tells Murtaugh to go down because at this point, Tito's men are coming. They're shooting and all that stuff. And Riggs has a grenade, and Murtaugh said, hey, let me borrow that. He gives it to him. Murtaugh throws it in a direction, and boom, and everywhere. So they're successful in getting Tito Flores, and they put him in the back of the car, in the trunk. And Riggs, in the process, while slamming down the top of the trunk, actually inadvertently sort of detaches, I believe, Murtaugh's little finger. And it was hilarious. And Murtaugh's like, ah! After we see Murtaugh being taken to the hospital, trying to get his finger reattached and all that. And he mentions to, and I think his sister or something. I forgot the character, but she's basically Murtaugh's protege. So she relays a message to the chief that they caught Tito Flores. He's in a meeting with, I believe, the head people, the LAPD possibly, maybe the FBI. So when they go back, when Murtaugh and Riggs go back to the trunk, they find out that Tito Flores is already dead. Someone has shot 2 shots straight to the dome piece. He's done. So once that's discovered, and Riggs are suspended for the time being. And Riggs is really down and sad that he wasn't able to take the guy who was responsible for his wife's death down with his own hands. After that, we see Murtaugh returning back to his family, and there's a big party going on. And at first, he thinks the kids are just throwing alcohol, like having an alcoholic party and all that stuff. Turns out his wife actually was a part of it. His wife actually made the decision for the kids to have a party. It was like a graduation going away party, actually. After that, someone had already admitted to doing the killing. and his name was Gordon Barnes. We find out that Gordon Barnes is actually a patrol officer of the border. His sister, I believe the character's name was Denise, she was the one that was there basically helping to reattach Murtaugh's middle finger at the time. So he basically says, Gordon Barnes basically says that he killed Tito Flores, and Riggs basically has a one-on-one with him and asks him, you know what, how did it feel to kill him? And Gordon Barnes was like, I don't really know, I just did it. I knew it was the right thing to do. He was responsible for so many killings, the drug trafficking and all that stuff. And Riggs just watched him. He doesn't really buy it. So he's like, let's be real here. If you just killed someone, you're going to tell me there's no emotion, there's no kind of, that comes with it. You're just going to be like, I did it. Come on, man. So back to the hospital to try to speak with Denise. And while he goes back to the hospital to speak with Denise, we see that Tito Flores' men are actually trying to kill her. So Murtaugh's fighting them off, and at one point he's basically defenseless. They got him right where they want him, and Riggs comes to the rescue, and they handle business and kick shot. So they speak with Gordon Barnes again, and they find out that he was actually lying about killing Tito Flores. That the one who actually killed Tito Flores was actually Raul. And Raul was basically Tito Flores' second in command, and he got tired of Tito Flores, and he thought this was a perfect opportunity to basically take the lead, the group. And he basically bribed Gordon with money. Also, the fact that he didn't comply and admit that he killed him, that he was going to kill his sister, Denise. After that, Murtaugh and Riggs decides to go back to Mexico to basically expose Raul to his members that he was the one that actually killed Tito Flores and bring him back in, to have justice served. So they go back to Mexico to basically convince and give the evidence that Tito was actually murdered by Raul. And at one point, I believe, because this happened during the funeral, actually, I believe Raul actually rolled a grenade, but it didn't really quite go off. And he says, listen, man, talking to Riggs, listen, save me, and I'll do whatever you want. And Riggs like, okay. Murtaugh is fine at this point. He beats the guy down, and he meets up with Riggs and Raul, and they're making a hasty getaway. And I believe Riggs got a rocket launcher, and he just shoots it, and it was beautiful. It's like, it was crazy. So after that, Raul's in custody, and the episode ends with yet another party happening, and Riggs comes, and him and Murtaugh are just drinking some good old tequila. So that's how the episode ends. Thank you guys for watching my episode review of Lethal Weapon Season 2, Episode 1. I will be reviewing every episode of Lethal Weapon Season 2. Like the video if you can. Subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it so I can make more content. And thank you guys for watching. Adios from Josh Vision.